What's up? It's Austin from the In the House podcast. Today, just a brief overview of some of the NFL rookies, what their role could possibly look like in year one or in the future, how they're going to impact some of the other players on the team. We're going to be looking a little bit about redraft, but mostly for Dynasty because that's where rookies are going to be the most, that's where they're going to be the most valued. That's where you do all your research for these rookie drafts. So we're going to try to help you here. This is just our first brief overview. We'll get much more into Dynasty throughout the summer, but this is just our first kind of opinions on some of these guys and their landing spots and how it affects some of the other players on the team. Just first round picks today. We'll get to the second, third, the later round picks later, but I just wanted to single out some of the first round picks and just what their role could possibly be. We'll start with Travis Hunter, second overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think in terms of immediate impact for redraft, Travis Hunter is such a wild card, so hard to predict. Is he going to play offense, defense? It seems the reports are like he's focusing on wide receiver, but you never know. He's so highly coveted because he can play both sides of the ball. But if he does play mostly wide receiver, as it appears to be that way, I think he's a high-end wide receiver for Dynasty. You look at him, he's an electric playmaker, obviously has the ball skills. I think for Dynasty purposes, if he does play wide receiver, he could be a very good Dynasty wide receiver, but it's so hard to predict because what if he focuses on defense and now you're not getting as much production out of him on offense and you drafted him high in your rookie draft. It's a very, very complicated pick here, and trying to predict what Travis Hunter's output or outlook might be like, it's very difficult. So, if you think he's going to play offense, which I am leaning towards that, he could play both, and you never know. But I feel like at the NFL level, he's going to have to focus on one aspect, one side of the ball. And if he focuses on offense, I think he has a really good chance to be a very good Dynasty wide receiver. Obviously, if he decides to focus on defense, it's not going to be the best pick for you there. But in terms of how he affects Brian Thomas Jr. specifically, that's what I want to kind of talk about. Brian Thomas Jr. was a guy that's getting a lot of, I've seen him in the first round here of redraft picks, drafts. But, I think it bumps him down to the second round, but just because you add Travis Hunter in, who's going to be taking targets away from Brian Thomas Jr. if Travis Hunter does play offense. But for Dynasty, I think Brian Thomas Jr. is still an elite wide receiver, still super young, rookie last year. I think you look at both of those guys as Dynasty wide receivers, Thomas and Hunter. I think they could both be really good long-term players that you can, kind of just lock into your lineup every week for years to come and feel good about it there. Next guy, Ashton Jeanty, goes to the Raiders at 6. I think he's what everybody kind of thinks he is for Dynasty here. Just going to get all the workload immediately. I think he's going to have no problem beating out Zamir White and whoever else is. Alexander Madison, is he still there? I don't know. I think he's going to get all the workload. Should be the feature guy in that entire Raiders offense. How that affects the rest of the Raiders offense, I wasn't really too thrilled about the Raiders offense anyways. Maybe Brock Bowers. I don't think it'll really hurt Brock Bowers much, honestly. I think it'll just boost Ashton Jeanty up. For redraft, he's going second round right now, usually. I think that might be a little bit high just because I don't know if the Boise State to the NFL, it's a really big jump. I don't know if all his production that he had in college will immediately translate. So second round is a little bit high for me in redraft purposes, but there's a chance he just goes out and is all of a second round pick. But for Dynasty, I don't think there's any reason to drop him. I think he's a guaranteed top 4 running back right now in Dynasty, just because he's a rookie and looks to have production for years and years to come. Next guy, Cam Ward, drafted to the Titans. Cam Ward's I don't want to say a weird guy, but he goes first overall, and he goes to the Titans offense, and it's not the best offense. He's not going to have all the weapons. So I wouldn't be shocked if Cam Ward is not the best quarterback, at least for the first couple weeks of the season, maybe in his first year. Maybe kind of underwhelming in that Titans offense. But, I think for Dynasty, I'm really high on Cam Ward. I like what he did at Miami. I think you give him a few years to grow. Maybe he might only need a few weeks. But I think definitely towards the later weeks of his rookie season, he'll look to start hit his stride. And I think from there on out, I think Cam Ward's going to be a great Dynasty quarterback. I just really like what he did at Miami. I think he's got an electric playmaking, big arm. I think he does what you need a quarterback to do for Dynasty. For redraft, I don't know. I wouldn't love having him as my starter immediately, but I don't know. It's just kind of tough to tell there. For the rest of the Titans offense, I think you would rather have Cam Ward throwing you the ball than Will Levis. So, I think it's an upgrade for them. Next guy, Matthew Golden to the Packers. Interesting one here. He's in a very crowded wide receiver room. Could he be wide receiver 5? Yeah, he could be behind Reed, Watson, Wicks, and Dobbs, but I don't think that's going to be the case, at least long term, definitely. For redraft, I don't know how quickly he'll pull away. He might not even pull away. But for redraft, I wouldn't look at him to be something super special, super high, just because he's in a crowded wide receiver room with a lot of weapons or a lot of guys. But I think for Dynasty, I like Matthew Golden a lot for Dynasty, just because I feel like he will pull away kind of from those other Packers wide receivers. With Dynasty, it's tough to tell. He might not even be a Packer in a couple years, but I think he's the most talented guy in that Packers wide receiver room, and I think for Dynasty, he's going to bode well in the future. I think he's going to be a guy that you take, and in the first couple years, you're waiting for some production. He's kind of stuck behind Reed or Watson, and he's not fully broken out yet. But I think he'll get to a point where he's one of the bright wide receivers in the league. Next guy, Tedoroa McMillan to the Carolina Panthers. McMillan's a guy that he comes in and you have to assume he's going to be wide receiver 1. I don't know who else it would be. He's better than Leggett, better than Mingo, better than old man Adam Thielen. He's better than all those guys. So I think you got to assume he's wide receiver 1, which I think bodes well for redraft. He should be getting a lot of work early. So for redraft, I think he's one of the higher rookies, just because of how much volume I think he's going to get. And for Dynasty, I think it all comes down to Bryce Young. If Bryce Young can play like he's been playing that last couple weeks of the regular season, McMillan has a chance to be a very good Dynasty wide receiver. Again, could switch teams. But I think McMillan, he's got all of the physical attributes. Great ball skills, can jump, run. Kind of reminds me of Mike Evans. But I think for Dynasty, it's just going to come down to quarterback play, honestly. I think he could be really good without a good quarterback, but I think he could be great with a good quarterback just off of his talent. So one to monitor here is Tedoroa McMillan. I'm still kind of on the fence about him. But we'll move into next guy, Amarian Hampton to the Chargers. A guy that, the Chargers, you want to talk about crowded rooms, the Chargers running back room it's kind of wild right now. J.K. Dobbins, Najee Harris, Hampton. If you want to throw in Kamani Vidal and Gus Edwards into the mix, you can too. But Hampton's a guy that for redraft, I'm a little bit more cautious on, because is he going to be able to go in there and just beat Najee out immediately? Is he going to go out there and beat J.K. Dobbins out? What's his role going to look like year 1? I'm kind of skeptical a little bit on him, but Hampton, I think, is a great running back prospect, and therefore I think for Dynasty he bodes well. Should be one of the higher Dynasty picks. If second or third in rookie drafts, arguably. I mean, I think he should go right there. Because he's such a good running back prospect. You know, I don't love the fit in the Chargers, although he goes to a place that likes to run the ball. You know, Harbaugh has always been a guy that loves to run the football. You saw what J.K. Dobbins was able to do last season. I think Hampton is a much better running back, true run, like just off of talent, than Dobbins is. So I think once Hampton can pull away, I think he'll be very, very successful there. It's just a matter of when. I think is what it comes down to. Next guy, Tyler Warren to the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, I think that's just a great pick for the Colts. You saw what Warren did last season at Penn State, just completely broke the college football world. You know, he was fantastic. Then he goes to the Colts, and you're looking at him as probably the first target. It's either him or Michael Pittman Jr., who regressed a lot last season. So I think Warren has a very good shot at being the major target here, which I think bodes well for redraft and dynasty. You know, for Pittman, I mean, bringing in Warren obviously doesn't help. Same thing for Josh Downs. So, you know, for the rest of the offense, it doesn't exactly help them. But I mean, for Warren specifically, I mean, you gotta like him for redraft and for dynasty. He comes in as one of the most talented tight ends in the league, in my opinion. Even though he went as the second tight end, I thought he was the best tight end in this class. I like him in redraft. I like him in dynasty. I mean, I think he'll be good. Next guy, another tight end, Colston Loveland to the Chicago Bears. Loveland's a prospect I'm not as knowledged on, but I mean, I think that he'll be. You know, my only concern is he does go into a crowded offense. So for redraft, you know, it's going to be hard. I mean, it helps Caleb Williams out. It probably hurts the other wide receivers just because there's another body there. But, you know, I mean, for Loveland, for redraft, I mean, I think he'll be a good tight end. I think the amount of weapons in that room kind of hinders his ceiling a little bit. I still think he'll be a good tight end option. And then for dynasty, I think he's also a great option considering he is a rookie. He is in a passing offense with Ben Johnson. Look at what he did with Sam Laporta. I think the signs look to a good future for Colston Loveland. Next guy, Emeka Ibuka for the Bucks. A guy that, you know, kind of an interesting pick here. Mike Evans getting old, Chris Godwin getting old. You know, Ibuka, I think they took him to kind of be the wide receiver of the future, which I think bodes well, again, for dynasty. I think he has Emeka Ibuka is a guy that I've liked for a couple years in college. I thought he was always a really good receiver. Kind of got overshadowed by a freshman, which is wild. But, I mean, I think Ibuka is going to be very good in dynasty. Redraft, probably not the best. Like, obviously his rookie season is not going to be his best season, but for redraft, I wouldn't be looking at Ibuka to be some insane producer just because he has Mike Evans. You have a very good wide receiver room there in Tampa Bay, probably one of the best in the league. So, you know, it's going to be kind of tough for redraft, but I mean, I think it helps Baker Mayfield out a lot. I think it probably hurts the other wide receivers, as you would expect. But, you know, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are getting old. Like, I think Ibuka, in a couple years, if he can stay in Tampa Bay, can get good quarterback play, I mean, I think he'll be a very good wide receiver there. And then last guy I want to talk about today is Jackson Dart, the Giants quarterback pick there. And, you know, Dart's a guy that might not start week one. So, redraft, probably out on Jackson Dart, at least for the beginning of the season. Dynasty, however, it's interesting. If you can project Jackson Dart, like I was big on Jackson Dart. He was actually my Heisman prediction for this past season. I mean, I like Dart. I think he has the most upside in this quarterback room. I think he can beat out Russell Wilson fairly soon. So, I mean, I like Jackson Dart. Again, going to be a guy, not a lot of immediate impact here, But for dynasty purposes, I like his intangibles. I think he has the makings of a good prospect, a guy that, reminds me kind of like a Jordan Love. Maybe he has to sit a year, whatever the time might be, but when it's his time, I think he can flourish. I've been big on Jackson Dart, so I think he could be a very good quarterback. Easily my quarterback too for this class. I think he's better than Shaw or however you say it. Him versus the Cleveland quarterbacks. I don't even want to get into the Cleveland quarterbacks, but Dart's a guy that I believe in long term. Maybe not short term, but long term. I think he could be something special there, as he was at Ole Miss. But I know a lot of people have concerns. Oh, he was in the perfect offense in Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin, but he was. But the thing I liked about Jackson Dart was the thing that told me a lot was Lane Kiffin brought in Spencer Sanders, a transfer quarterback from Oklahoma State, a proven winner, a guy that had done a lot of Oklahoma State, brought Oklahoma State a lot of winning seasons. He transfers in for Ole Miss, and Jackson Dart gets the starting spot over him. I think that tells a lot about Jackson Dart and the kind of player he is. I just think Jackson Dart's future is very, very bright. But yeah, that's going to conclude it for this video. We'll get into some of the later picks later. Again, this is just kind of my first opinions. I haven't done a lot of research at all. Just kind of, what I think about some of these landing spots, specifically their role, long term versus short term. But yeah, we'll keep you updated with dynasty info throughout the summer. But yep, hope you like the video.